Good evening and welcome back to the SRL TCR League Season 6 Media Day live from Brands Hatch. I'm James Parfitt. I'm going to be joined in the booth by the one and only Sweeney this evening as well. So thank you so much for joining us. Hope you are wonderful. Hope you're having a wonderful evening. And everything is good. Good evening, Phil, there as well. Thank you so much for joining us. Toxic Munchkin, good evening, everyone. And Easy EK, would you be able to get Ryan Dudley in the post-race interview? Well, we can only but try. It's down to Ryan Dudley to jump in and come and say hello there as well. But this epic evening of racing takes us to Brands Hatch for the media day. Of course, don't forget, round one is in 2 weeks' time at the Hockenheim Ring. So we are just now here getting everybody on track, making sure everybody's happy. Heat 1 will be 20 minutes. Heat 2 will be 20 minutes with a 15-minute reverse. And there's 3 lone laps qualifying. You've listened to me long enough. Let's bring in Sweeney into the booth. Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm doing brilliant. I'm really looking forward to tonight. A couple of weeks ago, obviously, when they took to Alton Park, they were some brilliant races. And now we go to yet another of the UK's finest club circuits, Brands Hatch. I mean, it needs no introduction. Touring cars, Brands Hatch. What more could you ask for? Bon appetit.
Well, yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of people involved here as well. We've got 30 cars currently on the grid. And we're on here with Dan Mould, of course. You know, Brands Hatch, notorious TCR circuit, absolutely love it. What are we expecting here from the drivers itself, though? Because obviously it's quite a tough one, isn't it? It's not so easy, and it is the full Grand Prix circuit as well.
Yeah, so obviously sometimes you will see them take to the Indy layout, which is as you come out of Graham Hill, you turn left at Surtees and just go straight and then through the final corner at Clark. Instead, you follow Surtees all the way around, down the back straight, up through Hawthorns, etc., Westfield, Sheen, Dingodale, etc., and it's the full layout. It's a brilliant circuit. I love Brands Hatch. It was the venue of the only ever esports competition I've ever taken part in, so I've got a bit of bias there. Happy memories from Brands Hatch. But just in general, you know, it's uphill, downhill, all over the place. It's not by any means a flat circuit. It's not by any means an easy circuit either. Left, right, forwards, backwards. There's grass, there's barrier. There's something waiting to spit you out. But in terms of the touring cars, they're small, agile, able to sort of take a little bit of a hit before they, you know, completely spear off into the barrier. You are able to go side by side at Brands Hatch in touring cars, which means, you know, it is going to be an eventful couple of races. Obviously, we've got one 20-minute race decided by qualifying, another where the top 15 of race 1 then get flipped on their head, and, well, we go again for race number 2. I think both races are going to be spectacular, reverse grid or not. Brands Hatch and touring cars, as I've said, it's just a brilliant combination that allows you to have some good racing, and it's also a circuit where drivers can actually stay quite close to each other, both physically, as you can see Jonathan Cook following another car, but also in terms of lap times. You can see on the time and tower, yes, this is only practice, but those times aren't too far adrift from each other, so I think we're in for a very competitive race.
Yeah, good evening to Milky1616 there. Thank you so much for joining us as well. I love Jamie Dengle. He's put, let's have it. Go Dudley, the Welsh Rabbit. Oh.
Fair enough.
Oh no, good old Ryan Dudley in the Audi there in 14th place currently at the moment. You know, as I say, last time out at Alton Park was an exceptional evening of racing. You know, Island Bend did cause a little bit of an issue. Now, I've sat here, been around here Formula 3s, and Dingodale was the flashpoint of literally everything. Now, are we expecting the same kind of scenario here in the TCRs? Do you think Dingodale is going to cause a problem? Because it has in many other series that we've been in. It's a difficult corner.
Absolutely, it really is. Obviously, when we talk about Dingodale, we mean both Dingodale into Sheen. So Dingodale is the little bit of a kink, that's this bit, and then Sheen is this uphill blind apex right-hander. Not only is it probably one of the fastest corners on the circuit, in most cars, it literally is just a brake, downshift, chuck it in, and hope that the car grips. But also, as I say, it's blind. You can't see where the car's going. You just sort of have to go off instinct, go off your references, and again, just when you turn, hope that you're turning towards the apex and you're not, you know, a million miles off. It is a incredibly difficult corner, no matter what car you're in. You know, you could be in a Formula 1 car, or you could be in an MX-5 in a Renault Clio, whatever it is a very, very tricky corner. And, you know, I mean, I'm expecting we are going to see a couple of mistakes because you get it marginally wrong and you could find yourself, onto the grass on the exit, going into Sterling's, which again could throw you offline, could, see you career into the side of someone. Who knows? Bottom line is, it is a very tricky corner. Are we going to see overtaken there? Probably not. But if we do, it's going to be one of those 50-50. Who's going to back out first sort of situations. But either way, I'm looking forward to it. I think, Dingledale, Sheen, to be fair, you look at most corners and there's Brands Hatch, every corner you negotiate has its own quirk, has its own obstacle to get through.
That is definitely right. David Johansson at the moment is topping the time in tower on a 1:32.36. The man from Sweden. Jack Johns is also in here as well. He's sitting currently down in 7th. Some familiar names: Sam Smith, Stephen Fry, Matt Almore, Jay Corley, of course, Elliot James as well, Daniel Lewis, and our very own Ryan Dudley, of course. Some new names onto the grid this week. Jess Rakowski, the American, is down in 21st place. Russell Fowler from Performance Link Esports is there as well. There's a few others that we've not heard of. Jonathan Cook is another man on track. Andrew Thompson, Neil Ridley. So there's quite a few new ones here, as well as the old favourites and of John Brown, Dan Mould. Alan McCain is also here as well. JB Deju, as I say, Ryan Dudley, Kev Eilert. All familiar names that we know across this series as well. But with dirty cars rushing down into Paddock Hill and up into Pilgrim's Rise and into Druids, it's going to be an interesting first couple of corners, I think.
Well, when isn't it? Let's be honest. In a Brands Hatch. I mean, I remember from my experience, again, I'm going to milk the fact I was in an esports competition for as long as possible because it's the highlight of my life.
What was you doing? All right, tell us about this F4s. Right, racing around?
Rocket race stuff, Formula 4 esports competition UK. We all went up to Bolton. We were in fantastic simulators and we were fighting for a Formula 4 seat, which now Deegan Fairclough won. And he actually, to be fair to him, if anyone watched the British F4s, Deegan Fairclough 5th, 10th and 4th in his debut in single seaters, which is fair play to him. I definitely wouldn't have done that if I won, but I was miles off it. But speaking of, obviously related to your point, going into Druids, we were 3 wide, I think 4 wide on the first lap. I was all the way to the left-hand side. Someone sent it up the inside to make it 3 or 4 wide, tagged me and I spun round. So I know firsthand how chaotic Druids is. It's the first major braking zone. It's uphill. You can brake quite late because of the uphill nature. Gravity's working with you to slow the car down. It just invites side-by-side action. And then obviously it sort of switches back because when you go downhill, Druids is a right, Graham Hill Bend is a left. So maybe if you can stick your nose back up the inside, it is a corner that will just promote some overtaking. And again, with it being such a heavy braking zone, that margin for error is so slim because if you get it wrong, you could find yourself into the side of another car. So yeah, there is I'm going to expect to be quite a bit of action. Also, before Druids into Paddock Hill Bend, turn number 1, the downhill, the gravel right on the left-hand side of it. Again, everywhere you go at Brands Hatch, particularly over the course of the first lap, it's just a circuit that wants to chew you up and spit you out.
Okay, how did you get on in general anyway in your competition?
Overall, I got P8. There were 16 boys. We had to do a pre-qualifying. We had to set our time to then qualify for the top 8 final on the Sunday. Yes, I finished 8th out of 8, but to be there first, to get into the top 16, then to get inside the top 8, I did so by 1/1000th of a second. Feel very, very bad for the person that I knocked out. And what's even worse is I can't remember his name off the top of my head, which is horrible, I know. But yeah, and then obviously going in, I got smashed into twice. So any hope of a top 5 or a podium was completely gone by then. So, but in all honesty, I didn't really care about the result. It was just the atmosphere that was so awesome. So if you ever do get an opportunity, anyone at home or even James, if you ever get an opportunity to go to a LAN event, 100% do it because it's just such a good vibe. So yeah, there we go.
Yeah, not entirely sure that my driving ability would allow me to be in a LAN event.
I didn't think mine was, to be fair. But
yeah, no.
I got there. I scraped in.
Yeah, I'm not sure I probably would, to be honest. I don't think my skills are quite up that level, to be fair. So, yeah, probably not. But I'll just stick to this at the moment. And, one day, you never know. I might be there commentating in real life, but we'll see what happens. But I don't think a land driving event would be my best friend. So let's see what happens. But we are in qualifying here, just waiting for the guys to set their first laps. They are obviously done their out laps now and are sitting on their fast laps, seeing how they get on. Now, the series itself, they are looking at splitting into AMs and pros, okay? So they're looking at splitting into AMs and pros. It's how they all get on. We're going to have more confirmation about who's going to be where next week before the race, obviously before 2 weeks time, sorry, before Heat 1. So that will be a change that they are making this season as well. The format itself is still staying the same, 20 minutes and 15-minute 15-minute reverse, but it should be AMs and pros next in 2 weeks time when we go to the Hockenheim ring. So hopefully we'll have a better idea of who's going to be where, and the timing tower will do lovely, gorgeous, pretty things for you. So there we go. Jamie there, I think James would rather sit on the bank at Thruxton with a beer and watch him racing. Do you know what though, Mike? You're not too far wrong with that. I would rather be sat at Thruxton because it is literally up 45 minutes to an hour up the road for me. However, not drinking a beer. I'm not a drinker, I'm afraid. I'd probably sit there with a nice cup of coffee and my donuts or something, I don't know. I'm not sure. Pork pie with a blanket over my knees on a deck chair.
Fair enough.
I'm talking about Thruxton as well. I'm talking about going up there in June for the BTCC. So if anybody fancies a day out at Thruxton and wants to come and meet up, give me a shout because I probably will be up there for that day. So there we go.
Signing some autographs as well. There you go.
Well, I don't know.
Memorabilia.
Yeah, I'll up and get some signed photos out. Do you know that's one thing I've never done? All the places I've been and never signed an autograph.
Never, mate. You need to get more famous. We've just hit 1K subscribers as well. You need to get out
there.
Maybe I'll pay someone to come up to you and then ask you for an autograph.
Yeah, but then how am I supposed to know if it's real if I'm going to sit there and you've paid them?
Well, now you have to live in fear of that, don't you? You never know.
That's just rude. Do you know, I did have a moment at a karting event I was doing once as well, where the dad come up was like, "Oh, can we have a word?" And I was like, "Well, okay, a bit scared." It's just like like to say thank you for obviously all the nice comments about my son and all of that. And I thought, yes, an autograph. And do you know what happened? Absolutely nothing. So I was like, oh, never mind. Maybe next time.
I've only signed one autograph ever. Actually, no, two. One was to a friend at school. Actually, no, three. One was to a person I used to commentate on way back in the day, and he was like, yeah, no, I'll sell it on eBay one day. Another person was a friend from school, and then the third person was Lewis McGlade, because he asked nicely. So I was like, all right, sweet, I'll sign your book. He signed mine as well, so we both got each other's autographs, which I think is a little bit romantic, isn't it? Yeah.
The only autograph I've signed is the back of my credit card.
Yeah.
That's about it, to be fair. No other. So I'm a bit disappointed. So there you go. If anybody is in Thruxton and does run up to me and wants to know if I'm there or not, come and see me and ask for an autograph just to make me feel like I'm important.
Boost his ego.
Yeah, boost my ego a little bit. Dan Mould has gone and set the tone. Now, Dan was a little bit worried this week because, as you know, he's been driving the Clios in the JPB Cup. He was also then referencing the Clio, that he doesn't like the Clio, but he likes the League, but it has made him slow in the TCR. Well, sitting on pole position on a 132.656 there, I'm not entirely sure that's true.
I mean, they're both front-wheel drive, so at least it's not necessarily a drivetrain switch of, you know, expecting understeer to being like, oh, actually, no, I've got some rear-end grip here. So at least there's that sort of smooth transition. Obviously, the Clio, a little bit less power than the TCRs, a lot less area than the TCRs, so a little bit of a shift, I suppose. But, you know, if Dan Mould claims to be as good as he is, you've got to have that adaptation. That's exactly what he is. So I think he's just chatting some wash, trying to throw us off our game a little bit, hyping up the fact that Dan Mould's going to lose, whoa, because he drove the Clio. No, he's still on pole position, and well, we'll see where he gets to by the end of this evening. Matt Elmore up there as well into the front row, about 10th and a half off Dan Mould. It's then 200s back to David Johansson as well. So very, very close, of course. Brilliant stuff between everyone, but yeah, Dan Mould doesn't really face him whatsoever. Of course, tonight is still not for points, so maybe there could be a bit of an equilibrium shift when we get to round one at Hockenheim with Dan Mould. Who knows? Sam Smith up there into second place as well. So, yeah, I don't know. It's still a very close qualifying session, but, well, no surprise that Dan Mould's at the top.
Yeah, exactly. I think he was just chatting a little bit of waffle, was Dan, to try and put everybody off the off the scent that he might be in trouble. I think personally he probably isn't, but you know, he's just waffling along quite nicely. Is Dan? He's currently sitting on pole position there as well. Arthur Furter was joined quite late on. He's just going to finish his lap as well. He's got 2 greens in the first 2 sectors. Currently sitting down in 19th place for Arthur. Not exactly where you expect to see him, and I'm sure he will be coming back stronger as he goes green again in sector 3. So we'll pay attention to see how he gets on, and hopefully he will be able to move it and bump it up the grid a little bit, because I'm sure he will not be happy sitting down in 30th, I think, currently at the moment. So from Furter's point of view, sure he's going to do his hardest there in the Elantra before he goes out onto the grid for race 1, which qualifying is coming just about to the end. Everybody has finished their time. Dudley's finished as well. There's just Jack Johns and Tom Bingham and Arthur Furdle. Furdle's going to come across the line first, and then we can jump down to Jack Johns, who is literally about 2.6 parts around the circuit currently, and Furdle is going to jump up into nowhere for Arthur Furdle. Jack Johns still out on track, of course, so we'll try and pick him up whenever it's there, and he's just coming round Sterling's now and off up through Clearways and Clark as well. Got another 3 greens in the middle there. Furdle did not improve. I'm wondering if he got an off track there, Zach.
Maybe. I mean, they're fairly easy at Brands Hatch, to be fair. I mean, well, yes, we've been hyping up the fact that, you know, if you go off track, you are going to get punished. You know, it is easy just to dip a couple of wheels off. Graham Hill probably is my best guess, because you can use a lot of the track on the exit, but naturally the car does want to go out onto the banking just a little bit, and whether you use the curb or the AstroTurf, I don't really know where the track limit is, but I know full well it is quite easy. Here at Hawthorns as well, just running out a little bit too wide. Either way, yeah, an off track definitely is going to be detrimental, particularly when you only get 3 laps to do your time, because it puts a lot of pressure on the other ones, and unfortunately it's, well, ended up not being particularly where I'm sure he would have wanted to be in qualifying.
Yeah, the Gamer K, they're new here, not so sure why not points. Basically, what most leagues do is they have a media day. It's a day to get everybody on track, to go racing. No points involved, of course, before we start the season in 2 weeks' time. Go out, make sure everything's up and running, everybody's happy, everybody's pleasing. Get some photos after of all the cars involved, and get lots of different media things. New outtake on some of the new liveries. Sturtle there does go into 5th at the very end. So that's the purpose of the media day. But let's have a look at the grid here for race 1. Dan Mould in first, Sam Smith second, Matt Elmore third, David Johansson fourth, Arthur Furdle fifth, Gary Craig sixth, Stephen Fry seventh, Jay Corley 8th, Alan McCain 9th, Jonathan Cook 10th, John Brown 11th, and Steve Howard down in 12th place. Then beyond that, we've got Kev Eilert, Ryan Dudley, Elliot James, Russell Fowler, Derek Crowther, JB Deju, Tom Woodcock, and Jess Rakowski in 20th. Fraser Alexander 21st, Neil Forbes 22nd, Jack Johns 23rd, James Ellis down in 24th place. Ian Smith 25th. Hilton Nicholson in 26th, Daniel Lewis 27th, Neil Ridley 28th, Tom Bingham 29th, Andrew Thompson 30th, and Luke Jones down in 31st place there. So there you go. Can I still join the league for the new season or too late now? You can get yourself still involved. There is places. Links are down in the description below as well. So you can go and join in with the SRL. As I say, links are down there in the description. Just click join, reach out to the admins, tell them that you're interested in joining the league, and you are more than welcome to, I'm sure. There are still places available, I believe. There is 40 places available on the grid. Currently have 36, so you haven't got many left, the gamer. So please go and get yourself involved if you want to do that as well. But we are reaching into race 1. First 20 minutes, just waiting for Sam Smith, Alan McCain, Fraser Alexander's just got on. So it's now just Sam Smith who will jump in front of Matt Elmore on the right-hand side. There he is, as we go once more, ready to go here for all this action at the SRL Media Day from Brands Hatch. The lights are going to be on. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. Oh, that was a long hold, but we are green, and away we go here as these guys go rushing off round Paddock Hill now, and it's still Dan Mould currently out in front at this moment in time as well. Matt Elmore, Sam Smith, David Johansson, Gary Craig and Arthur Furdle all mixing it up, but this is where the flashpoint's going to happen coming up into Druids. Is everybody going to make it through? Everybody looks happy at the moment. A free wide further back as well. That has settled down a little bit, and now they're back to 2. But it is Dan Mould out in front currently at the moment, and the only off track was Luke Jones, who's the only man that's been off track there, Zach, but everybody else looked like they seem to have made it through cleanly.
Very impressive stuff. Dan Mould in particular is going to be very happy with that. Matt Elmore upper place as well is probably going to be able to propel himself onto the back of Dan Mould. Or is he? Sam Smith already trying to launch the counter-attack side by side as they run their way down this back straight. Then you rise up in towards the right-hander of Hawthorn. Sam Smith trying to go the outside of Matt Elmore. That's very, very tricky, and we'll probably see him try and back out of it. Or no, actually not. He's actually gone for it. Tried to keep his foot in. Now in towards Westfield. It is going to swing the way once again to Elmore, but once more Sam Smith sends the move to the outside, gets the advantage, almost pushed off the circuit. Downhill run now in towards Dingledale, then in towards Sheen Curve, and outside line through there is probably not the best way through, but he's going to go for it anyway.
Yeah, they've just made it through as they're coming round into Sterling's now. It is still Smith and Elmore side by side. Craig sat up behind and Johansson behind that as well. Elmore gets a little bit touchy there on Smith, and unfortunately Smith goes off, but they are driving side by side for pretty much most of this lap currently at the moment, and they are still doing it now as they go across the line. It is 2 banks of 2. Johansson as well with Gary Craig. Behind that is Sturdle. Mould sets the fastest lap on a 140. Running 2 by 2 going out through Paddock Hill. It's not going to be ideal. Are they all going to survive? Couple into the kiddie litter there. Smith spitting up dust, but he still managed to hold it going up through Druids, and they're still... Oh, okay, they've settled down now. Matt Elmore, Sam Smith. Now, there was a big moment for a lot of drivers there up through Hawthorn. There was so many went off track. Ian Smith, Russell Fowler, Fraser Alexander, Jess Rakowski, Andrew Thompson looked like they were all involved in a little bit of a ta-ta-ta, and Steve Hailwood has also jumped back to the pits, so there was a little bit of a chaos. Hailwood, Woodcock, Smith and Jones are all in the pits at the moment, but it is still here with Sam Smith on that battle. So it was expected going up through Hawthorns. You can guarantee that looking back at that would be too wide, somebody going wide, next you know, everything gone wrong.
Oh, absolutely. But again, great respect, with everyone, because obviously what we saw with Sam Smith and Matt Elmore, it takes courage, it takes respect to go side by side through Dingledale into Sheen, and pretty much for half a lap like they were doing. Beautiful stuff, fantastic. Respect, as I say, so brilliant stuff from everyone involved, and I'm sure that's going to continue. Not done them any favours in terms of winning this race. It has fermented itself as a race for second side by side. This is John Brown versus Ryan Dudley. The advantage swings the way of Dudley, who has the outside run through Sterling, now puts his foot to the floor, and also in the background you can see Jonathan Cook trying to get himself involved. Continuing to go side by side is Dudley and Brown. Outside for Clark Curve goes the way of John Brown. However, it's a very long way round, and well, maybe the shorter run for Ryan Dudley could see him back through. That's going to be no to that question. In towards Paddock Hill Bend once more as well, and you can see trying to send the move to the inside is Jonathan Cook. What a move that is. Late on the brakes, committed, bold, brave, brilliant. Outside line for Ryan Dudley as they rise uphill towards Druids. The outside line goes the way of Dudley, who is going to try his absolute best to hang on. Gives him the squeeze, of course, but it's a long way round, and he's got about 5 cars in behind ready to pick up the pieces if anything goes wrong, and still side by side down the hill and towards Graham Hill.
Yeah, Cook's gone off on the grass. That's put the end to that one. He's going to come back on. Oh, no. Oh, Jonathan Cook tried to hold it, went back off, and that was Jack Johns with him. Poor old Jack Johns, looks like his car is done. The front end is, well, sticking up in the air. Never good there. David Johansson here battling away with Matt Elmore, and behind him has got Sam Smith, Gary Craig and Arthur Ferdle. Oh, that's just unfortunate for Jonathan Cook. Oversteered trying to come back on the grass, and next thing you know, back end's gone round, and poor old Jack Johns taken out by somebody. He was just completely innocent in the whole thing. There's another pocket of battle down here. Dudley's going again in front of him currently with Stephen Fry. I love Dudley's livery. It just reminds me of a proper TCR livery that you've seen. It just, I don't know, I really like that. Praise to Ryan Dudley on that one. Stephen Fry, Ken Eilert, JB Deju. Now further back as well, Andrew Thompson chasing around with Jess Rakowski. Jess there, of course, has been involved in the wars, and I can tell you that much, judging by the fact that front end, I should say, is back end is a bit bent up there, and looks like he's almost got a smile on his face. So there is Rakowski's car in front, and as you can see, it's been in the wars. We can almost see into it. It's been that much. Squeezing the life out of Andrew Thompson across the grass and running down into Paddock Hill. They are side by side. This is the battle down in 20th and 21st place. Oh, Rakowski's gone round. No, Rakowski's managed to keep going. Does she save it? Just about, but poor old Thompson definitely did not. And Jess Rakowski and Andrew Thompson there coming off a cropper in Paget Hill.
Yeah, well, easily done. The margin for error is so slim, and well, when these guys are fighting as hard as they are, it is sort of to be just that little bit expected. But yeah, well, what can you do at the end of the day? What's done is done. You've got 30 cars hurtling around for the same bit of tarmac, and yeah, chances are those things are going to go a little bit haywire sometimes, particularly when you've got these little pockets of sort of 4 or 5 cars at sometimes all fighting over some positions, which, you know, again, can't blame them. It's a competition, it's media day, no points to one. They're just going to be centered. That's wide though from Matt Elmore. Could we see David Johansson try to get the up and under potentially as he now tries to put his foot to the floor? Is there any way through and towards Clark? It's not really much of a braking zone, and yeah, there we go, settling in behind. We've got 4 cars bumper to bumper to bumper to bumper, back to back, all the way through, and this action is far from over. The fight for second rages on because, well, the more these guys fight, the more Dan Mold says thank you very much, and well, he's going to be driving away to what should be, touch wood, a fairly easy victory.
Yeah, hopefully Dan Moldale should be able to hold this 3.7-second gap. If he makes any mistake, of course, he will be under pressure from everybody behind him at this moment in time. Deju, Fry, Eilert, Crowther, Bingham, Eilis are all close together there, and further back from that, Rakowski is also get on herself close to another car in front, which is, I believe, Neil Ridley currently in front of us. So there's a lot going on there for Jess as that battles away here in second place. David Johansson, Matt Elmore. The Johansson has cleared Matt Elmore. That was on the run out of Druids, but is now not giving up his Elmore. He's not going to be running it. Surely won't run it too wide. Come on, be a little bit sensible through Hawthorne and down in through to Dingledale, of course. But you just sort of flash it down, Mold, go out in front. But this battle is even closer. Stephen Fry in 10th place, JB Deju in front, and Kev Eilert behind him. These guys are now coming down into Dingledale. It looks like it's going to be an interesting one here. I don't think this season is quite as definitive. You know, I don't think we're going to see just a complete runaway of one person.
Absolutely not. I think the competition is so close, and the only reason that we are seeing Dan Mold run away is because of that very hotly contested fight for second. If they sort of work together from the get-go, we'd see a completely different story, and obviously it's dependent on everyone around them. Here we go, blue versus red. Who's going to come out on top? Deju trying to hang on versus Fry. Stephen Fry trying to work his way past, now practically pushing the American across the line. Pulls out late to the left hand side. Of course, it's the long way around into Paddock Hill Bend, but definitely doable if you're brave. He's going to give it a go. He's just about scraping his way past side by side, but eventually his forces, well, Deju was able to hang on. But there we go, inside line opens up, gets squeezed all the way to the inside through Druids, a bit wide from the American, and invites Fry through and up now into 9th place. Brilliant racing between all of them, but it continues down towards Graham Hill Bend, and well, fight after fight, battle after battle, and these guys are relentless.
Yeah, we're on board with JB Deja. I can see Stephen Fry just go whizzing past us currently at the moment. Oh, Fry's got it all wrong. Can he hold it? He's onto the grass. He manages to, but loses a few places in the process. Neil Forbes and now with Kev Eilert battling away down in 14th and 15th. Back up front is still tight with Matt Elmore. This time it's Gary Craig and Arthur Fertile sitting in 5th place. Jamie in there as well. I think Fertile's waiting for these to fight. I believe he probably is, to be honest, is Arthur, but he's not a silly man, is Arthur Fertile. So I've seen him in many series, and he's just quick in, well, seems to be quick in whatever car you put him in, really. So I'm expecting him to make a good old go at it here as he's sitting in 5th place. He's another man that's been driving Clios. Hopefully that hasn't affected people too much, but you never know. How can they cope with the transition over from a car like the Clio coming into a TCR? Is that?
Well, sort of like I was saying during qualifying, the Clio still front-wheel drive, so as I said, it's not a massive drivetrain shift. You know, with a rear-wheel drive, you expect the rear end to rotate as you put the power down, as opposed to the front-wheel drive cars, which have the steering and the power through them. So naturally, you are going to expect a bit of understeer. So at least there is that. You know, the dynamic of driving is relatively the same. But obviously there are big differences. The Clio, a lot less powerful relative to the TCRs, is running a little bit wide there with Arthur Thurtol, and if he is waiting for a fight, he's going to have to close back in on that fight once more. But yeah, a lot less powerful is the Clio, different differential I think as well, and then obviously with a lot less aero. The Clio is very bare. It is basically just, you've taken it out of the dealership, you put it on a racetrack. There's no adjustments, no rear wings, major aero changes added to it, as opposed to these TCRs, which will have a lot more grip relative. So you've got to get used to it. As wide through Sheen. There we go. That invites Gary Craig through, and well, Matt Elmore finds himself demoted down to 4th and off the podium. An easy mistake to make, and one that we were really expecting.
Yeah, now unfortunately for Matt Elmore, run a little bit wide there as well. Jamie, are these fixed setups? Yes, they are. They are fixed setups here this evening. So no benefits from an open setup. To be honest, I like using a fixed setup. It's nice and easy. You load it up, you plug it in, and away you go. It's almost like plug and play with a fixed setup. I don't have to worry too much about what I'm doing with it. But Kev Eilert and Neil Forbes do have to worry about the car in front of them. And Jonathan Cook is also chasing down here as well. JB Deju still in the battle that he was in earlier on. There is JB there. The difference is he's now got Derek Crowther behind him, while Ryan Dudley clears off about 3 seconds up the road. But Jonathan Cook battle is still carrying on here. Cook on the left-hand side, of course. Eilert on the right. We saw that incident with Cook and Johns earlier on where, well, Cook ran wide in this corner. This very corner ended up on the grass on the right-hand side. Come back on track. Massive snap. And unfortunately went straight into the side and flicked Jack Johns round. And Jack, of course, was back into the pit. So that was unfortunate for him there. And I'm sure, you know, mistakes happen. Jack's a fairly relaxed guy. I'm sure he won't be kicking up too much of a problem. But, you know, mistakes happen. And it is only a media race at the end of the day. Absolutely.
I mean, you know, win or lose, there's nothing really to gain from today other than the potential. What we as commentators gather from, and obviously as the league organisers as well, what they'll gather from today is who's quick, who's decent, who can we put where, what are we to expect for the season to come. You know, the data that we take from this is Dan Mould, he's very quick. The grid is competitive. We'll have those mental notes for the rest of the season to say, you know what, this is a really good series. Everyone's really close. X, Y, Z, driver A, driver B, driver C. These are the guys that we need to look out for. These are the guys we expect to do well. As the league organisers, though, the likes of, I think, Dan Mould behind the scenes, etc., they'll be like, okay, you're quick, you're in pro. Even if they don't do well, they can still see their qualifying times, their pace over the course of the race. They'll be like, yeah, you finished P19, but you got smacked into. Beyond that, you were very quick. Pro, etc., all the way down the field. There is still a lot to gain from a media race, but from a driver's perspective, it's just go out there, have fun, show what you can do, go side by side, have a mess around, who knows. Just sort of set yourself up well for the season. Ease yourself into that competitive nature. Yes, it's a competitive race, but it's not for a prize, it's not for championship points or anything like that, but it's still a race, it's still experience, and it gives you that mental note, similar to us, of who to look out for, who is your biggest threat, who do you have to be more cautious overtaking. That's sort of what drivers get from media day. But in terms of getting smacked into and not doing well, personally I wouldn't really care, but obviously different drivers do different things. But yeah, either way, it's a media day, so if you're, you know, getting upset by not performing well, then, you know, you get better priorities, I suppose.
I think the problem with that is, right, you talk about that now, and obviously these guys go out, they practice, and there's that one guy, or, you know, maybe two, that might go out 7 days a week and hurtling cars around Brands Hatch, and they want to get it right, and they want to be quick and everything else, and then they come out onto the track, go into the first corner, somebody spins, clouts into the side of them, race one, done in a matter of minutes. Regardless if it's a media day or not, I think people would not be happy. So from that point of view, you've got to be careful. Jonathan Cook here is chasing down Neil Forbes. These guys have been together for a few laps. He's going to go up the inside of Paddock Hill. Is he going to be able to stop it? He takes the curb. He does get it done. There, Jonathan Cook does pass Forbes. I think he's blocked off Forbes. Is coming back into him in Druids. And Cook is now through and up into 14th place for Jonathan Cook. Can he get a hold of Stephen Fry? that's going to be the question. I don't think that's going to be possible. I think it's too far there. JP Deju, Derek Crowber. Behind that, we've got James Ellis, Stephen Fry, all in the mix with Tom Bingham currently in the front as well. And again, another Honda Racing, James Ellis there in the Honda Civic. Gets a very slow exit out. He's going to be running side by side with Fry. Fry is on the right-hand side. I believe he's already got through before they even go into Hawthorne there, Zach. He must have got a meaty run out.
Absolutely. Put his foot to the floor, obviously. Not entirely sure if that Honda has the variable valve timing, but who knows, maybe it does. Maybe what is usually the case with Honda Civics is it takes a while for them to build up. As soon as they get to the high revs, then the valves start to kick in, then they start to open more, let more air and fuel in, make bigger boom and go faster. And if he got a poor run, it would have taken him more of a time to get to those high rev range. But maybe that's not the case in our racing, who knows. Either way, yeah, Fry was able to find a fairly easy avenue through ahead before the corner. Maybe it was helped by Ellis, as to say, probably not worth going side by side into Hawthorne, as we see side by side here towards the back end of the field with Jay Corley and Tom Woodcock between the pair of them. Good little fight, a good little scrap towards the back, and this is sort of what you have to do on a media day, is again show what you can do, show why you deserve the class you're going to get allocated. Yeah,
it was quite interesting. This actually, was it today or yesterday? Yesterday, I think it was. Jay Corley put out a tweet and saying how he's back in the TCRs for the SRL, and I was like, oh right, okay, cool. Now last season at Okayama, poor old Jay did not have a good time of it. He spent more times at Kyler Minogue in spinning around it. So that's what I said in commentary. Now obviously from Jay's point of view, you know, a little bit of banter with the commentator there as well. But I did end up replying to his tweet and just said, I hope we don't see more of this, and basically just had a NASCAR spinning around, it was at the time. And Jay goes and replies with the Kylie Minogue gif of spinning around during the video, the music video. So it was quite funny to have a little bit of banter with the drivers there. Jay, but it is good to see Jay back out on track, currently sitting in 25th place. I think he must have had a little bit of incident somewhere along the lines, and I'm wondering if it was all mixed up within that first turns there. And he has got Tom Woodcock behind him. JB Deju still fighting away as well. Matt Elmore up front, further up with Gary Craig and Arthur Ferdle. Ferdle is still, I'm not quite sure what he's waiting for, but he's not really making a big gain over the cars in front.
Yeah, I mean, there's waiting for an opportunity, and then there's, you know, being too passive. You know, there is a balance. I mean, fair enough. You know, you don't want to go in guns a-blazing, but also time is not on your side in these races. We've only got a handful of minutes left to go. That means, you know, only a handful of laps. I mean, we might even be on the penultimate lap already, I think.
No, we have one more.
One more, okay, well, either way, there's only a couple more left anyway. That he's not got a lot of time is what I'm saying. And he can't sit around, you know, twiddling his thumbs waiting for something to happen. At one point, there's got to be a line that's crossed, and he's got to say, right, no, this is my moment. I've got to put this car into overdrive. I've got to take control, get past Elmore, and then try and use that as momentum to get past Craig. If you sit behind for too long and wait for something that's not going to happen, all you're going to get is P5. If he tries something now, he could find himself P4, maybe onto the podium, who knows. But if he sits back and does nothing, he is securing that 5th place, which, to be fair, that might be all he wants. He might not want a podium. He might just want to settle for a P3, P5, I should say. He might just want to go for that top 5 as opposed to getting a P3. It all depends. However, his time is going to be, actually, no, it's not for position. It's one of the back markers going off. Elliot James, I think, having a bit of a spin. But, yeah, what I'm saying is if he wants more, go for more. If he doesn't want more, then fair enough to sit back. But there's nothing that's going to happen between Craig and Elmore, I think, in the final couple of moments that's going to enable Thurtle to go for a move.
Yeah, I think he's going to just basically try and put the maximum he can in. Stephen Fry, James Ellis, Tom Bingham, John Cook and Forbes are all together with Eilert and Rakowski just trying to catch up to the cars in front. Got about 18-second gap at the moment. It's going to be a tough one. But Neil Forbes on the back at a very injured-looking Jonathan Cook's Honda with Tom Bingham and James Ellis in front of us at this moment in time as well. Whether or not they're going to be able to get through is going to be a different story, of course. The two, Tom Bingham here, and then behind him Jonathan Cook, of course, in the same team by the looks of it. I do love the livery. I believe they're from the Performance Link esports team, if I'm not mistaken, because Russell Fowler is also in that as well. There we go. That is a very nice livery, I'm not going to lie. But Matt Elmore still fighting away here and still struggling to try and get rid of the Arthur Ferdle, as much struggling as he is trying to catch up to Matt Elmore. But it's pockets of battles developing here, and unfortunately it looks like Elliot James, Neil Ridley has had another incident all at the same time, so it's getting even more, a little bit more scrappy as the race goes on. But it is Arthur Ferdle here. Dan Mold's going to come across the line. Mold's going to take the victory in race 1. The league owner with, of course, John Brown, who is currently coming across the line in 7th, but it is Dan Mold wins race 1. David Johansson 2nd, Gary Craig 3rd, Matt Elmore 4th, Arthur Ferdle in 5th place there. And then all the other cars strewn in across the mold. Mold is just kind of, well, he was just in a class of his own on that one, wasn't
he? Yeah, respect to him. I mean, it was helped obviously with the early fight for 2nd, allowed him to get that margin and then just do what Dan Mold does essentially, which is be like a Scale Electrics and just go round and round and round, not make a single mistake, be very, very consistent. His best lap was a 32.3, his final lap was a 32.6. Just goes to show there was a hefty bit of consistency. David Johansson, I think, did get the best lap right towards the back end of the race, but Dan Mold over the course of it was consistent, handled his opportunity as well, and just commanded that race as he should. He didn't let the opportunity of fighting behind get to him. He was like, sweet, fight for 2nd. That means I can, shoot off in the distance, and he won by 2.9 seconds, which in a 20-minute race is a fairly hefty gap. But the hard work comes now when he starts from 15th and has to work his way up.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one, but we did see him on Monday in the Clios work his way up through 16 places from a top 20 reverse to 4th place. So the boy's got skills that he's definitely capable. So let's see how he gets on here. But today is a different story. Of course, here are the results. Dan Mold in 1st, David Johansson 2nd, Gary Craig 3rd, Matt Elmore 4th, Arthur Ferdle 5th, Alan McCain 6th, John Brown 7th, Ryan Dudley 8th, Derek Crowther 9th, Stephen Fry 10th, James Ellis 11th, Tom Bingham 12th, Jonathan Cook 13th, Neil Forbes 14th, Kev Eilert 15th, Jess Rakowski in 16th, and Fraser Alexander down in 17th. Russell Fowler 18th, Hilton Nicholson 19th, Andrew Thompson 20th, Neil Ridley 21st, JB Deju 22nd, Jake Corley down in 23rd, Tom Woodcock, Luke Jones, Elliot James and Steve Howard round out the top 27. And Lewis, Jack Johns and Sam Smith, of course, 10 laps down, rounds out your top 30. Race 1 is done here this evening, so get yourselves ready for race 2. Here is all the information that you need for this season 6 of the TCRs from the SRL. As I say, you can join in from the Discord down below. The links are all in the description. So £12 entry fee. You've got a front race and obviously the media race today before we go into the Hockenheim Ring in 2 weeks' time. And then 2 weeks after that, we've got Oshleben, Cataluna National, Donaton National, Zandvoort and Knock Hill. So a lot of great tracks to get yourselves involved with, but please, as you say, if you want to jump in, you can. Follow the link down in the description below, and that will take you straight into the Discord, and you can come and join in here. So there you go. What's going on here then, Mo? Well, VJ, Mold was out in front. The racing line fueled for a charge in race 2. I hope so, Jack, because you finished near the back in race 1 there, bud. And congratulations on 1K, JP. Thank you very much. I'm surprised there's not more Audis on the grid, though. No, there was not. For 5, I believe. 5 Audis out of the Hyundais and the Hondas. So these guys obviously know something that we don't, there, Zach, because I thought maybe there might have been a lot more Audi contingent.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've seen, the Audi does seem to be a fairly competent car. I mean, again, I've not really had the experience of driving touring cars on iRacing. I love watching them. Don't really fancy driving them as much because they're just not really my cup of tea. I prefer to put the foot down and slide backwards as opposed to slide towards something. But again, that's just me. I prefer watching the TCRs. But yeah, from what I've seen before, the Audi RS3, I think is the specific, is, a really, really strong car. Maybe it's just driver preference. Again, a car can be as quick as you like, but if you're not in tune with it, if you don't handle it as well, you might as well be in the slowest car on the grid. You've got to be in something that works for you, and for a lot of people, that's the Hyundai, it's the Honda. So again, you just got to go with what you're used to, what you're safe with, and chances are as well, when it comes to iRacing, do you really want to pay 14 quid for a sidestep at best? Between, say, the Hyundai and the Audi? is it worth the 14 quid? Is it worth that risk? I don't know. Again, that's what will be going through my head at least. But I guess if money's a bit of a flaunting around for you, I suppose maybe just go for it. But yeah, I don't know, surprising. But I think we have got a good mix in terms of cars, considering the fairly a good range of TCRs here on iRacing.
There we go. That's the thoughts of Zach Sweeney. So thank you very much for that, Zach.
You can be a pinch of salt, obviously, because I chat absolute worst. Basically, I'm just sat here. James asked me a question. I'm like, how can I answer that sounding kind of professional and kind of like I know what I'm talking about? And as I'm going along, I'm like, yeah, all right, that sounded all right. And then I'll try and make up something as well. I'll be like, no, that sounds like something someone who knows what they're talking about would say. Basically, a commentator is a very good actor in some regards, because we're just like, yeah, that sounds good. We'll go with it, sure.
We definitely are. We're a teller of stories here. Well, you saw why, buddy, says Jack Johns. We definitely did there, Jack. Jonathan Cook running wide, coming back onto track, spinning and then hitting you on the way through. Great stream, as always, says Craig Waters from CW Domestic Plumbing. So thank you very much. Go check them out. Google CW Domestic Plumbing. I'm sure they've got a website there as well. You never know. Go and have a chat with old Craig. That would be amazing. Free bit of advertising for you there, Craig. Go and check them out. And I'm sure they do an absolute great job plumbing if your toilet's shooting you up into the ceiling. You definitely will need help on that one. We've got 20 seconds left of the warm-up before we go into race 2. Don't forget, it is a top 15 reverse. So there you go. Really entertaining this, lads. Top-notch. Thank you very much. That game of K1. Much appreciated. I hope you've joined the Discord now. We're going to see you out on track next time. So, you never know. What more can you ask for, Craig? A little bit of free advertising never hurts anyone. I'll send you the invoice after. Right, here we go. Waiting for all of everybody to spin into their wonderful grid positions for the top 15. And we'll see how this one pans out. But here is the grid for race 2. Well, not from there. We won't see it from race 2. There we go. Kev Eilert in first, Neil Forbes second, John Cook third, Tom Bingham fourth, James Ellis fifth, Stephen Fry sixth, Derek Carver seventh, Ryan Dudley eighth, John Brown ninth, Alan McCain 10th, Arthur Furder 11th, and Matt Elmore down in 12th. Then on the back of that, Gary Craig 13th, David Johansson 14th, Dan Mould 15th, Jess Rakowski 16th, Fraser Alexander 17th, Russell Fowler 18th, Hilton Nicholson 19th, Andrew Thompson 20th, Neil Ridley 21st, JB Deju 22nd, Jay Corley 23rd, Tom Woodcock down in 24th, Luke Jones in 25th, Elliot James 26th, Steve Howard 27th, Dan Lewis 28th, Jack Johns 29th, Sam Smith 30th, and Ian Smith down in 31st. The battle of the Smiths at the back end of the grid, but we are here for race 2. Another 20 minutes. Top 15. We're just waiting for Jess Rakowski to get onto the grid, and then we'll be ready once more for race 2. Let's see how this one turns out. The lights are going to be on. I don't think Rakowski's going to make it, but Kev Eilert is the man on pole with Neil Forbes right behind him. The lights are on. 5 lights. It's green and away we go there. Jonathan Cook got an absolute barnstorming start with Tom Bingham pushed up right behind him. Neil Forbes did not absolutely go hardly anywhere off the start line now, and unfortunately for him, he's dropped all the way down the order. Dan Mould is up 1 place into 14th. He's going to try and send it 3 wide. Going up into Druids, that's never going to work. They all battle their way round, thankfully without any problems currently at the moment, and everybody bar Neil Ridley and Jack Johns. Johns there as well. I'm going to make my way up through the field, and unfortunately gets tied up with Neil Ridley on lap 1 at the first corner down into Druids, but it is Eilert out in front, still managing this at the moment with John Bingham behind him, and Jonathan Cook, Stephen Fry, Dak Carver, Neil Forbes on there as well. Tom Bingham's taking a trip on the grass. He's saving the job. The men, the groundsman at the Brands Hatch cutting the grass a bit. Oh, pretty much clean, young Zach.
Yeah, which is fantastic. They're about 2 wide, 3 deep, and then also 3 wide, 1 deep. Going into Hawthorne's a couple of people side by side as they jostle and tussle. There's very wide in the background. I think that
Forbes.
might well be Neil Forbes. Oh, back onto the circuit. Even more carnage, calamity, and chaos. And, well, we said it a little bit too soon. A bit of a commentator's coincidence there is a couple of people side by side up the hill through Dingledale into Sheen, the orange, and they trying to sail the move all the way around the outside. And just people, I don't know, have they not installed their steering racks? What was going on?
I don't know. Neil Forbes is in the pits. Luke Jones is coming now. Dan Lewis is there. Jess Rakowski is in front. Forbes and Thompson are in the pit lane. It all went a little bit of a Pete Tong moment here. I'm going to try and pick up this first one with Forbes. He goes off. Now, what's the innocent party move here? Look, and all of a sudden, bang! He gets into from Luke, I believe that was Neil Ridley, I think, or Luke Jones, crashes into him, and the poor man was trying to come back on track. So poor old Neil Ridley, Neil Forbes there, a bit of an innocent party in that one. Oh, James Ellis. Come back onto the track. He got a massive dose of grip and around he went. But look at this. This is only going to go one way. Gary Craig. Oh. Just holds it. Where did Dan Mould end up in all of that? He's still going. He's up. Well, he ain't gone anywhere. He's still in 15th. Jay Corley's just gone past him there. But that was a big old move from Mould and Craig. I tell you what, yeah, a little bit chaotic for race 2 here. Not gonna lie. Well, what am I gonna say? What am I gonna say? Well, I don't know.
Is it English? No. Is it England? Yes. Boom, sorted. Side by side between John Brown as well. He's trying to, stay in front of Arthur Thurtle, who's going side by side with Ryan Dudley, I should say. They run their way out at Surtees and continue their drag race, their little tussle through the straight and then in towards Hawthorne. Is John Brown going to really spark anything relative to Derek Crowther? Is he quite close enough? I don't think so. So the attention focuses on the two behind of Arthur Thurtle and Ryan Dudley. Arthur Thurtle up 5 places. Good start from him and, trying to recover from what could have been a little bit of a better race one.
Yeah, there was sound issues in that transition over into the replay, so bear with us. We'll correct that as we go along as well. I did see that there was a dropout on sound as we went over to the replay transition, so apologies for that one. Hopefully we are back and you can hear us now in our true glorious selves with the sultry tones of the old man and the young whippersnapper in the comm box currently at this moment in time. VJ said we're back, so that's always good to know there as well. And Dan Mould is still now chasing on the back end of Jay Corley. Once more, he's not really gone anywhere. I would have thought there would have been a bit more progress from Dan Mould than there is currently.
Would also say so. He's made up one place now as he sends the move to the inside of Paddock Hill. But yeah, he's had that progress halted just a little bit. He's trying to make it 2 and 2 as he looks to the inside as well, trying to get his way up the inside of Gary Craig or Russell Fowler, I should say, and does exactly that. Brilliant stuff. From Dan Mould, our race 1 winner, of course. But if he's going to do well in this race, he needed to do it from the get-go. He didn't need to climb, then drop, then climb again. He really just needed to climb and climb and climb from the start. And this backwards progress has meant that everyone is settling into their rhythm. They're going to be a little bit harder to overtake. He's having to join this trend that extends all the way up to Tom Bingham for 3rd. There's a bit of a gap between himself and Gary Craig, but if he can get that back under a second, it's going to be a long train. And I guess that's probably the environment that Dan Mould likes. I'm trying to say that, maybe it's going to be a bit more difficult to overtake. But for Dan Mould, all he sees is 1 overtake, 2 overtake, 3 overtake, 4. And he's just going to climb his way through the field, I'm sure, in the next final 3 quarters of the race. Yeah,
Johansson trying to get out the inside of Matt Arnold on nothing given currently at the moment. Ryan Dudley, Arthur Thurtle still battling away beyond that. And there's this train of what looks like about 9 or 10 cars, or if not more, all mixed together, and we're ending down with Corley there, with Jack Johns trying to chase him, with Elliot James as well. So we'll have to see how this one pans out currently for these guys. But it is getting a little bit spicy back there with Kev Eilert. as well is alongside Gary Craig. Craig's trying to run him around the outside of Paddock Hill. Is this one going to work? Is they going to go on to... Oh, I thought Gary Craig was in the kitty there.
Yeah, but great stuff between the pair of them, continuing to go side by side, of course, as Gary Craig tries to send the move to the outside. Kev Aylett has got the advantage side by side just in front, as well as Matt Elmer and Alan McCain run side by side through Graham Hill Bend as well. Who's going to come out on top on that particular exchange? It does go the way of Matt Elmer relative to Alan McCain. A good run out of Graham Hill, though, for Craig. Could see him go the outside line of Surtees, defended nicely from Kev Aylett, also in behind as well. Bit of contact just in front of them between, who's that? That's Alan McCain and David Johansson. They're going side by side. Now we've got a good old drag race in towards Hawthorne. Kev Aylett's got the overspeed, squeezes his way through. Is there any way he's going to try and make the advancements inside line for Hawthorne? No, he doesn't. And strawing his way around the outside. Brilliant stuff there from Gary Craig. He's straight on it. Dan Mould onto the scene as well. Yeah,
Dan Mould trying to get onto the back here. Kev Aylett is still hugging that inside line, dropping down through Dingledale. Are they going to make it up? They're not. There, Aylett drops back and makes a sensible move, I think, staying out of this two-wide situation up through Dungledale with Derek Crowther, Ryan Dudley, Matt Elmore, Johansson, McCain, Craig, Mould, Aylett, Corley and JB Deju for good health. Russell Fowler is also battling away here with Steve Howard in front of him. Corley currently side by side with JB Deju running around the final corner. Down the start-finish straight they go. Who's going to come out of this one? It is going to be Corley at the moment. Brown set the fastest time there on a current 132.965, sorry. And John Brown here tucked up behind Tom Bingham with Arthur Ferdle trying to chase him down. This Ferdle seems to have escaped the pack at the moment, which is always good. But this kind of isn't, is it? We got Elmore, Dudley. Dudley's just about to take the inside line, is he? Oh, this is going to be close. Johansson's going to try and look at... Well, he's just got nowhere to go there, Zach, is he? Too wide on the circuit, and you're trying to go free in an area that doesn't allow free cars.
Yeah, you know, it's always going to be difficult as they're just trying to squeeze their way through any gap they see as an opportunity, and they're going to try and seize that opportunity because, you know, it's a short race. You might not get many of them.
Ah, there's chaos!
Oh, whoa, big one under the bridge. That is huge. 4 cars involved, rolling their way back on. I think Dan Mould involved tumbling his way down. We've also got Deju, Johansson, Fowler. How do you digest this? What happened? It's that one thing. It's a big catalyst, and that's one big chain reaction following it.
Oh, there's still more going on as well. Elliot James, Alan McCain, all Dan Mould into the pits all at the same time. And what chaos that was from them guys here, racing neck and neck. They were all together, and then all of a sudden, boom. It was a little bit of a chaotic time there from them guys. We've got McCain, Johansson, Mould, JB Deju, Elliot James all in the pits from this one.
Of course, they do get one free fast repair to use, so they just pull in, stop, go. But the deficit of not only the crash, wheeling it back to the pit lane and driving through the pit lane means this race is essentially just a write-off for them, which is a shame because it would have been interesting to see what Dan Mould could have done and the rest of the contingent as well involved to see, you know, how much that fight would have continued. But that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. This is the fight between Tom Bingham and Arthur Thurtle, who currently holds the fast lap of a 32.82. Outside line for him as he tries to sail his way through Surtees. No way through on that particular occasion, but Tom Bingham might not have the best of runs. Now the slipstream runs the way, advantage to Arthur Thurtle. He's trying to make 6 places turn 7 in terms of places gained in this race. Looks out to the left-hand side of shot, right-hand side of the circuit. Inside line as they run their way through. Car stopped on the inside. Arthur Thurtle seizes his opportunity side by side with Tom Bingham. Car off in the foreground as well. Could see them close this and, well, could potentially even be a fight for what could be a podium.
Yeah, I think that's Dan Lewis. I think that was Dan Lewis went off. We'll try and have a look and see if it is. I believe it is. That is down there. Oh, it just stops. Unless he moves over and lets the guys through, but he's now in the pits as well. So not entirely sure what that one was, with Bingham and Crowther picking up here as well. Fowler and Rakowski there. Fowler with Howard. Rakowski trying to catch him with 6 tenths back currently at the moment. There she is. There, Jess Rakowski is well caught up to the back of these guys, but it is Tom Bingham all there with Arthur Ferdle. Not entirely sure what that was from Arthur Ferdle. Looked like it's weaving all over the track there, and less than 8 minutes to go.
Yep, just under halfway left, and Arthur Fettel finds himself in a pretty good position. 2 seconds off John Brown if he wants to promote himself onto the podium. Tom Bingham, however, unfortunately for him, his woes do not end. The pressure is still there because instead of Arthur Fettel, it's now Derek Crowther in behind, trying to work his way through. Tom Bingham might be still getting a sniff of slipstream off the rear end of Arthur Fettel, but maybe not enough to thwart the attack from Derek Crowther, who is looking menacing in the rearview mirror. Once again into Hawthorns. Is he close enough? Probably not. It's a bit more of a corner on these TCRs relative to, say, single-seater machinery, but still a very fast one at that. And Derek Crowther's offence is going to have to hold station for just the moment. But yeah, Tom Bingham has been one after another, and back to the mid part of the pack because we've got Steve Hellwood versus Jack Johns. Jack Johns is doing a fantastic race. Same too as Hellwood as well. 18 places and 15 places respectively. They're making up for race one.
Yeah, they definitely are. Johns did come into chat and say he was going to be on a bit of a mission to try and get back through the field. Caught up with Ridley at the beginning, but Tom Bingham has got Crowther trying to go. No, not this time around. He's going to duck back and try and the up and under down into Paddock Hill. Oh, he's going to be sending him round the outside line. So Crowther, can he make it through? He's not going to make it through this time around. So Tom Bingham is still in front of Derek Crowther. 7 minutes on the clock. Stephen Fry out in front. Not seen much of Stephen. There he is currently with Jonathan Cook behind him and John Brown behind that from the SRL. John in the Audi, of course. Arthur Fettel trying to close him down. Tom Bingham, Derek Crowther are close together here, Zach, with 6.5 minutes. What are you thinking about here?
Well, all the racing that's on the circuit at the moment, I think the fight for the lead in the podium might be dwindling a little bit. Maybe the fight between John Brown and Arthur Fettel could be sparking in the final quarter of the race. But this fight right here is all the talking points because you've got Bingham, Crowther, Elmore as well. 3 cars for 5th place. The top 5 is definitely a prestigious position to be in. And, well, that's exactly where Crowther wants to be. He wants to demote Bingham 1 more place. But Matt Elmore being there makes this a 3-horse fight. You've also got Dudley as well looming in the background if anything starts to happen between all of these guys. But Derek Crowther, now, he should have got the move quicker. If he had, he wouldn't be worrying about looking forwards and backwards. Now, he's got to try and attack while also not losing the place back to Matt Elmore as well. So Derek Crowther, he's got his work cut out for him, but he's got to focus on attack.
Yeah, he's definitely got to try and get as forward as possibly as much as he can. On the back end of Crowther, he wants to use Crowther as much as honestly, he wants to kind of tuck up right behind him currently at the moment with Crowther and Bingham in front because Ryan Dudley is coming there. Dudley in the Audi. He is closing ever so slightly and it could be a nice little tidy 4-way battle as we go into the last 5.5 minutes. Russell Fowler and Steve Howard still battling away there with Jack Johns currently in the front. I do love Steve Howard's livery. It's just simple, but it stand out a little bit there with a green bonnet on the front of that and a white background. So a good job there from Steve, but it is Jack Johns here as well. Tom Bingham, Derek Crowther. Crowther's just about to go up the inside, is he? Can he run him up the inside now and take that position, or is it going to be a straight, flat-out drag race, Zach, down into Hawthorn?
Probably is, in all fairness. Side by side you can see there Bingham and Elmore. Ryan Dudley on the scene. They go 1-2-1 in terms of formation, flying in towards Hawthorn. Tom Bingham, he's able to hold station relative to Ryan Dudley, no way through relative to Matt Elmore. 4-way fight continuing though into the final stages of race number 2. Dudley looking to the inside of Westfield. Oh my word, gets his nose cut off from Tom Bingham, who just takes the race line. Fair play to him for that one. Got 4 cars line astern, all fighting for 5th place. Derek Crowther, he's done the hard work, and well, yeah, the fact that attacking was easy, now defending is going to be just that little bit harder. As Tom Bingham sideways and off.
Yeah, Bingham's off onto the grass. Unfortunately for Tom Bingham there, that could be it for him. He now drops down into 10th place with Jack Johns and Jay Corley in front of him. John Brown has now got Arthur Fettel. If there's anyone we don't want behind you, it's got to be Arthur Fettel, surely.
Yeah, he's been just so quick in this race. He's got so much to prove as well, and he's looking to the outside of Druids already, trying to work his way onto the podium. And, well, Arthur Fettel, he sometimes has poor races, but as soon as he sniffs blood, he is absolutely going for it. Wide line through Graham Hill, tries to give him that momentum swing that gives him the drive. Now look at the closing speed from the Hyundai, now into 30, not quite able to find a way through. John Brown able to hold station quite well, and he knows what he's doing when it comes to defending him, but Arthur Thurtle also knows how to throw a good punch.
Yeah, it definitely does. Arthur Thurtle was no slouch as they're going two side by side down through Hawthorne. Are they going to be a hold on? Thurtle does not this time. He backs out, stays behind. Oh, John Brown went defensive. I don't even think he got out of that corner before he started hanging it to the right-hand side. He's going to miss the opportunity. Thurtle's going to rung him up now. Is he going to be able to get through on the right-hand side, or is John Brown going to end up on the grass? He's ended up on the grass. That's the problem with side-by-side racing in that corner. He knew it was coming. It looked like it was coming. And John Brown did end up on the grass there from Arthur Thurtle, but Thurtle's now up into third place.
Yeah, absolutely. And great job from him. John Brown obviously not going to be too happy with it, but yeah, that's, well, I guess how the cookie crumbles sometimes when it comes to racing side by side as well. Matt Elmore, Derek Crowther still fighting over at fifth place. That fight continues, of course, while the fight for the podium is relatively settled. I am surprised as to the wide gaps and wide disparities between some of the drivers in race 2, probably because we've had a fair share of carnage and people, you know, going off and doing their own thing compared to race number 1. It's not exactly what I would have expected, but nonetheless, it has still been a good day and a good race. And watch touring cars without a bit of door rubbing, and fair enough. I mean, it has sort of become the mantra for touring cars. While it is still a no-contact sport, it sort of is what you have to expect, and that's close into Druids. Yeah,
Jonathan Cook looks like here he did. Yeah, he did have that incident. I just want to have a level look and see. So it goes up the inside. Oh, and then they just kind of get attached together. And Jonathan Cook there, unfortunately, now dropping down the order. Steve Howard has gone on and he's had a moment. Alan McCain just looks like he's had an incident as well as they're coming into the last minute and a half. They're going to be going. They're probably, to be honest, going to get one more lap here. Stephen Fry. That is not for position behind. That is Johansson, who is a lap down and currently sitting in 25th place. But Stephen Fry starts the white flag lap as he goes round Paddock Hill. One more to go for Stephen Fry, and he will take the victory in race 2. Ryan Dudley's now going to have a snap at Derek Crowther and see if he can get past him on the final lap. Be a good move from Dudley. He's currently up 2 places, sitting in 6th place at the moment. So Ryan Dudley having a stellar evening there as well. What's touring car without a bit of door rubbing? What have I missed? Only just arrived in Cornwall. Well, you've missed a mould crash with a good few other people down the straight as well, mind you. So there was 4 of them, all ended up off. Actually, it was more than that because 2 more people got caught up in that one, Fraser Garrity in race 2. So worth going to look back and restarting the broadcast for, young sir, and having a good old nose on that one.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's been a great broadcast, which, to be fair, all broadcasts on the JP Broadcasting Network are fantastic. So if you're bored, click on it, go have a look. If you are new, obviously, make sure you subscribe, turn the bell on for notifications. Obviously, we've just passed the 1K mark, so road to 2K, I suppose, is the next bit, and onwards and upwards, really. Ryan Dudley a little bit wide. That's going to compromise his braking. Manages to hold on to it, though, and, well, that's the one thing you don't want to do coming onto the final lap of the race. Yeah, definitely Ryan Dudley there on the grass. He managed to hold it, but Stephen Fry is coming around the final corner here. Stephen Fry will finish in pole position in first place. There he goes, flash of the lights for Stephen Fry. Stellar job from him, with Arthur Thurtle going to be coming behind him, and Ryan Dudley behind that after as well, down in 6th place. So Arthur Thurtle in 2nd, John Brown, Matt Elmore, Derek Crowther. Crowther manages to hold on from Dudley. Kev Eilert, Jay Corley up 15 in 8th place there as well. Jack Johns up 19 places, currently into 10th there. Great job from Jack. And then Steve Howard and Ian Smith is up 17 places as well. So a good job from Ian Smith. 17 places, that's 31st place he started on the grid. As I come over with some very quick maths as he's coming around the final corner. Now there is Ian Smith starting down in 31st. And then Gary Craig behind that, Luke Jones behind that, JB Deju as well has finished the race, and Neil Forbes will be the final man across the finishing line here. There. So
Fraser, how long are you down in Cornwall for, young sir? Are you down there on holiday, or are you just down there on a day, on a, I don't know, weekend, is it? Maybe? Possibly? So...
Long weekend, isn't it? Bank holiday, so...
Oh, yeah. I keep forgetting that. It's when the children are like, yeah, Dad, we got 3 days off. I'm like, have we? Yeah, it's bank holiday. Oh.
And Tuesday, because strikes, I'm pretty sure as well.
What strikes?
Teacher strikes.
No,
I'm fairly sure.
Yeah, not where we live, mate. The teachers don't go out on strike. Teachers don't go out on strike.
Oh, well. To each their own. My sister gets to do it, so she's fantastic. But there we go, race 2.
Yeah, the results are in. Stephen Fry is your winner. Arthur Ferdle second, John Brown third, Matt Elmore fourth, Derek Carver fifth, Brian Dudley sixth, Kev Eilert 7th, Jay Corley 8th, Tom Bingham 9th, Jack Johns 10th, Jess Rakowski 11th, Fraser Alexander 12th, Hilton Nicholson 13th, Ian Smith 14th, Gary Craig 15th, Luke John Jones 16th, and Steve Howard down in 17th place. Then beyond that, we've got James Ellis, Neil Forbes, Russell Fowler, JB Deju, Jonathan Cook, Elliot James, Alan McCain, David Johansson, Neil Ridley, Dan Mould, Dan Lewis, Tom Woodcock, and Sam Smith did not finish the race. Of course, you can see there on the right-hand side. Well, another interesting evening of racing here for us, Zach. You know what I mean? Going forward, it looks like we could be in for a great season.
Oh, absolutely. I think we've got 6 weeks ahead of us of just out-and-out brawls. Obviously, this was the final chance for people to get a bit of practice in, get a bit argy-bargy, test the limits without throwing away any massive points. But in a week, 2 weeks' time, actually, I should say, when they take to the Hockenheim Ring, that's going to be a race to remember. A brilliant circuit. And yeah, again, I really, really can't wait to see how these guys get on. I think it's going to be a brilliant display of racing. And if it's anything like we've seen over the past few weeks at Alton Park and Brands Hatch, for sure, it is going to be a brilliant season 6.
Yeah, it definitely is there as well. Let's bring in Mr. Corley, of course, one of the highest gainers in race 2, up 15 places. Jay, welcome into the booth, bud. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, mate. Yeah, that was a race.
Yeah, it definitely was, mate. What happened in race 1?
Right, so race 1, really nice tight pack from 2nd to about 7th and 8th. I think I was on the tail of it, and really, really good racing, really, really close. Everyone was really, really tight, taking the chances they could. But the bounciness of the walls after the first corner of Brands Hatch just caught me completely off guard. I tried to dodge Sam, I think it was, who had an unfortunate bounce across the track, and I just couldn't control the car enough, and that was it for race 1 for me, unfortunately.
Okay, well, race 2 was a little bit better.
Yes, so race 2, decent start. Tried to get through some of the pack. I won't get that lucky again, I don't think, once the season actually starts. So it was nice to actually have some things go my way, especially with that big incident that happened between 4 and 5, that long straight. That was something else, that.
Yeah, you made it through that then.
Yeah, just a little bit of a slowdown, look for the gaps, and I guess this time I just managed to get lucky.
Yeah, and we didn't see no Kylie Minogue moments either, Jay, this time around.
Tell you what, that's the first thing. After that first incident, I was just like, I bet they're going to zoom in on me, and some sort of Kylie Minogue joke was going to just slip out. So, hopefully...
I did talk about our interaction on Twitter, though, however, of you, posting the Kylie Minogue gif. I thought that was quite amusing there, Jay. But
yeah, I just couldn't get it out of my head.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to see you for the season this time, young sir.
Absolutely. Season 6, from the turn-up that we've had here in the fun race, I'm really looking forward to it, especially with the whole Pro and Pro AM now. I've been thrusted into Pro, so for the next few races, time to prove why I'm there.
Okay, mate. Well, good luck for the season, bud, and hopefully we'll have a chat with you as it goes on.
Hopefully. Thank you again, guys.
Take care. Bye. Right, and that was Jay Corley there as well. Now, everybody has requested in chat Mr. Ryan Dudley here as well. He has joined me this evening, not under his own fruition, mind you. Ryan, welcome into the booth. How are you?
Hi, mate. Not bad. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Easy EK. It says, can you try and get Ryan Dudley in? So you're here. Welcome in.
My mate being a dweeb, that is.
Well, is he though, really? Because you don't really come and chat to me at all, not even on a Monday evening when you do so well. So, going forward, though, you jumped into a TCR, you've had an absolutely great evening of racing. What are we expecting from Ryan Dudley in Season 6?
I'm not sure, man. They've put me in the pro section, so I'm not expecting any wonders, I'll just be the mid-pack racer, I think.
Yeah, but you'd say that because obviously, we've seen you up in the Clios. We've now witnessing you in the TCRs. I think you're underestimating yourself a little bit here, sir.
I don't mind the Clios. Clios I'm a bit better in, but I mean, I've just got direct drive as well, so I mean, I'm on the road to improving for sure. Like.
Okay, no worries. Well, look, there you go, easy. Thank you so much for inviting Ryan into the chat. And he says, I'm not being a dweeb. I wanted to hear him post-race.
Yeah, man. Cool. Well, thanks, James. And I'll see you Monday. Yeah. I'll jump in if I finish well, I'll go in the waiting room as well.
Yeah, come and join us, have a chat, mate. It'd be amazing. Thank you very much, cool, Mr. Man. Dudley, sir. Take care.
Thank you, mate. Ta-ra.
Right, let's bring Arthur Ferdle in, the man who finished in second place this time around. Good evening, Arthur. How are you, sir?
Hi, James. I'm good, thanks. You all right?
Mate, I'm wonderful. I've had a good week so far, and obviously just sat here and watched some great TCR racing with Zach, of course. Going forward, though, sir, what are we expecting from you this season in Season 6?
I'm going to be able to get a few podiums.
Okay. Is that it, or is there any more ambition than that?
I think I'm also planning in the future to remember that this is an earlier time now, this league, and turn up on time, because I went out in qualifying. I didn't read what the button said because I'd only just joined the session and assumed it was practice and that there was just no one on the track around me. It wasn't until I come onto and I was just messing about with the cold tyres, getting a feel for the car. It wasn't until I was going on to the third lap that the white flag came up on my screen. And I said to the guys, hang on a minute, is this qualifying? And I then had to try and put a lap in with doing. I did practice on Wednesday, but I hadn't done any laps at all. So that was interesting. I was quite pleased with P5 after that, and I was well happy with P2.
Yeah, I bet, mate. Absolutely stellar job there as well. It's going to be a tough season, I think. Here we got the AMS and the pro section as well, so hopefully we get all the information about who's where. And I'm going to presume you're in a pro, as you always are, of course. The excitingly amazing skills of Arthur Ferdle in any car that he seems to be jumping in at the moment. So well done to you there, sir, as well. Should be an interesting season, Arthur, I think, and one that we can definitely keep an eye on you for.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the first races, I think, are all going to be really close up the front. I think the league, it might get decided on race 2 results on how well people get through the field, because one of the faster guys might get held up when the others get through, and that might be what decides it, really, the way people get through the field.
Yeah, and of course trying to avoid any major collisions that happened earlier on to Dan Mould and about 3 other people all at the same time.
And that.
Yeah, that's always a good thing as well. Arthur, thank you so much for joining us, bud. I'll probably look forward to having a chat with you on Monday.
Yeah, see you Monday. That's my last round in the Clio League. So, yeah, I'll see you Monday. Looking forward to it.
Oh, man, you take care.
You too. Bye.
Bye. Right, let's bring Hilton into the booth here. Hilton Nicholson, a new driver to the league this season. Hilton, how are you, sir?
Very well, and yourself?
I'm very good, thank you very much. I've just watched a great evening of racing. Did you enjoy that?
I did very much so, yes. It was fun. I enjoyed myself.
Have a good time in the TCR. Is it your first outing in the TCR, or have you driven more of it?
I've done a couple of races, not too many, just really 1 or 2. So pretty much my first time out in the TCR. I was battling a bit for pace, but it's a tricky track, especially the last back end of the track with the 3 right-handers.
Mm-hmm.
You've just got to commit and hope that there's grip.
Yeah, I think that's the hardest thing here at Brands as well, up through Dingledale, and on that run down into Sterling's is always a tough one, through starting off at Westfield, of course. Going forward, what's your aspirations for the season?
Hopefully to obviously learn from the faster guys, and progress further later on in the league, and we'll definitely continue with the TCRs. They definitely are fun cars to race. It's a very competitive field. Yeah, and to take it one race at a time.
Okay, awesome stuff, Hilton. Well, thank you so much for joining us there, bud. And we look forward to seeing how you progress on throughout this season.
100%. Thanks very much.
Take care.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye. Right, and now we're going to bring in the league organizer, of course, Dan Mould here. Finished first in race 1. Didn't do so well in race 2, unfortunately. Involved with 3 cars, if not more, by the end of it, on a straightaway there as well. But he is into the booth with us. Good evening, Mr. Mould. How are you?
Hi, James, Isaac. You're right, mate.
Yeah,
Yes, very good.
we're all good. How are you anyway? Come on, cheer up, sir.
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm not really bothered about the result of what happened to me. I'm more concerned about people's night of racing. Yeah, there was a few things that could have been avoided tonight. From very hard to obviously to see when you're racing, but one thing that I did notice, I had a quick look through the replay after, is people not slowing down. For instance, people trying to maybe gain an advantage by whipping through the carnage and hoping for the best, but it may work once. I don't think it'll work the remainder of the 9 times. So and the consequences of getting it wrong can be absolutely as you can see, it's carnage. So people, just like I said, I've been trying to stress in the Discord, people, to race smart and not hard. You get further up the field by being a little bit more aware of what's going on than sticking your foot to the floor on the right pedal. But it is a media race. It is a group of guys who some have not met each other before. They've not raced with each other, so it is a learning curve. And it was a very fast-flowing track, so all that mixed into one. You can't not expect things like this to happen. So, we live and learn. And I'll say a few things in the Discord, and I'll try to educate a few, and try to get maybe some of the tempers come down a little bit. We all need to have a good time, and that's what we need to keep it as a good time, and that's what we're going to try and do. So congratulations to the podium finishers. Thanks to everybody who's signed up and who's turned up tonight. Yeah, all I can say to anybody who's listening, regarding anything that they're upset with, we will look at it and we will try our best to make sure we all race singing off the same song sheet.
Well, there you go. I don't really feel I need to say anything else, apart from if you'd like to get yourself involved, please do so from the Discord below. There are a few places left on the TCR. How many places are left, Dan?
Top of my head, I think there may be 4 or 5 places left now.
4 or 5 places left. So if you want to get yourselves involved, please do so. Join from the Discord link down in the description below. Well, Dan, thanks so much for joining us there, bud. A quick shout out from you before we send you off.
Yeah, the normal crew. I'm looking forward to watching the first race back, to be fair. But no, I'm looking forward to watching the stream back with you and Zach in the booth. And shout out to John this time, because I've had a lot going on recently, and he's done quite a lot of the the background work this time. And then the guys who support us, Jay, he supports us quite a lot in his own streams and stuff, and so does Kev. I know a few others do, and we try and support them back, and we really do appreciate it. Next for me is the Clio League with yourself. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, and that's it really. Yeah, I'm smiling. I'm happy. Have a good night. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, there you go. That Gamer K has said, make that one less, I'll be involved. So look out for Gamer K.
Excellent.
It's going to come and join in the Discord off their broadcast as well. But Dan, thanks so much for joining us, bud, and I'll look at catching up with you on Monday, no doubt.
Yeah. All right, mate. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. Have a good weekend. Have a good bank holiday. See you later.
Mate. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Well, there you go, Zach. They all seem fairly positive about their evening of racing.
Yeah, I mean, Dan Mold's a lovely lad, so it's he's always high spirited and stuff. But yeah, overall, despite the carnage, despite the chaos, everyone seemed to enjoy themselves, which is obviously boding quite well for the season to come. It's also nice that the broadcast has influenced someone to go on track and get involved. So looking forward to seeing that game McKay out on circuit in a couple of weeks' time when we go to the Hockenheim Ring. Should be a very, very good one. I've enjoyed myself, and I'm looking forward to the season to come.
Yeah, absolutely. But thank you so much, guys. That brings us to the end of the broadcast from myself and Zach Sweeney here. You all take care as always. Have a great week, and you never know, we might see you on the track next time. Good night.